Hello everybody, I'm back from TIFF, and I actually had no intention on reviewing this film. However, after surprising by winning the TIFF Audience Award, an award that the last 12 winners have gone on to be nominated for Best Picture, I feel like my hand was forced. I had to review it. And I'm of course talking about Mike Flanagan's The Life of Chuck. Now, pre-warning, I did not read the short story that this was based on by Stephen King, nor did I know anything about the film before seeing it at TIFF, nor have I seen really any of Mike Flanagan's shows or any of his movies. I think I've seen Dr. Sleep. I think that's all I've seen. But coming out of the Life of Chuck screening, in which Stephen King himself was in attendance, while I thought it was cute, I could tell that my enthusiasm for the film wasn't nearly as high as those around me. So for those who don't know, Life of Chuck is separated into 3 acts and is told in reverse order. So starting with the end of Chuck's life, then working backwards towards the beginning. So Chuck is played by Tom Hiddleston, and like Tom Hiddleston in this movie, I'm going to dance around the plot a little bit to not ruin anything. But I'm going to try to walk you through my experience watching the film. So when the film started, I was drawn into the first act. There was a sense of somberness, with everyone experiencing their own existential crisis as the world crumbles around them. But with that, I thought there was a good dose of satire, because while the world was crumbling, there was a mysterious man being congratulated for his 39 great years, and that was being plastered on all the billboards and television ads. I was intrigued, and I was enjoying this kind of like Twilight Zone-like setup. And I also felt like I was asking the right questions. How did the world get to this state of collapse? And who is this mysterious Chuck guy? Quickly, that second question was answered, and the mystery, along with all the offbeat humor, kind of vanished like a star in the sky. And the answer to who Chuck is just kind of ended up not being all that interesting to me. At least not interesting enough to kind of warrant that long build-up. So the first act, which is, I guess technically Act 3 because it's in reverse order, was an existential apocalypse film. The second act, we actually get to meet Chuck through a very long dance sequence, which is admittedly, it was very entertaining, very fun. And the third act is kind of a Disney movie with some spooky elements. And when all the acts are kind of combined, it creates the Life of Chuck, which accumulates to one oddly shaped celebration of life that encourages you to seize every finite moment we have on this earth and dance like nobody's watching. I'm assuming the story structure is how it's presented in the short story by Stephen King, but when presented as a film, I found the story to be a bit disjointed. The first act we see involves a school teacher, played nicely by Chiwetel Ejiofor, and a doctor, played by Karen Gillan, and they discuss philosophical questions, and these characters are only loosely tied to Chuck. But we spend quite a bit of time with them, and we never really understand how they fit into this Life of Chuck. In fact, it felt like their entire first act could have been completely cut out, and it wouldn't have affected the rest of the story at all. There's actually a lot of great, wonderfully written scenes throughout the film that explores, the great mysteries surrounding life. One I liked included the use of a calendar to describe how little time the human species has occupied this earth. Another talks about the entire universe, and everything that we've ever experienced happens in the space between our ears. I think Mike Flanagan, the writer, especially with dialogue, I think that's one of his strong suits. In the end, the film's kind of life-affirming messages, which is the emotional core of this film, it's kind of spelled out to you in very lengthy monologues and presented on a very sugary, very sentimental platter that makes Spielberg look like Darren Aronofsky. Now, I do admire the film's earnestness. I do. It's truly a very sincere movie, and there are highlights throughout. Now, many people are going to be raving about this dance sequence. There is a very fun, long dance sequence that I found very adorable, very dorky. Tom Hiddleston dances like Conan O'Brien. It's very sweet, but he does bring an emotional layer to that scene that I think made it feel a little weightier. There's actually a few more dance sequences in the last act as well that are also welcoming bursts of energy and joy. The narration throughout, it worked for me personally, read by Nick Offerman. Offerman's kind of usual dry sense of delivery actually kind of helped balance out the sweetness of the story. The film altogether, it's a mixed bag for me. I know Mike Flanagan has done some shows on Netflix, which doesn't surprise me, as the entire look of this film just felt like something that was made for a Netflix show. It's competently shot, but I didn't find the cinematography particularly striking by any means. I can't really fault any of the performances, nor would I want to. You know, Mark Hamill is really well cast as Chuck's grandfather, someone who finds beauty in math. Yeah, I share that sentiment. I don't know. I feel like I should have structured this review better. It's kind of right now like an assortment of just thoughts, but that's kind of what Life of Chuck is. It's an assortment of a bunch of thoughts smushed together. While I appreciate the film's kind of sincere message about embracing life in the face of death, the story never quite gelled or flowed for me. And I hate saying anything is too corny, because I'm definitely guilty of loving my fair share of schmaltz. Love Actually. But overall, I just found Life of Chuck I guess, a little too mechanically emotional, I guess you can say. But I did like a lot of the, philosophical concepts that was explored in the movie. So I am going to give Life of Chuck a 6 out of 10, man. But I was leaning towards a 5, but I'm going to go with a 6. But look, man, I mean, this film won the audience award. Clearly, I have no idea what I'm talking about. If you love this film, just so you know, your experience, it's valid. I actually don't believe movies are good or bad. It's all relative to each individual and their own experience. And I never want to yuck someone's yum. So if you liked it, I'm happy for you. I assume if you came to watch this video, you wanted to hear someone love the film as much as you did. And if you did, I'm really sorry. That makes me feel awful. But feel free to share your thoughts in the comment section below, because, again, a lot of people love this film. I know that I'm going to definitely give it another chance. Next time I see it, I can't wait to see it again, just to see if my opinion changes upon a rewatch. Maybe I will find new layers that I didn't find before. But let's go ahead and talk Oscars. So, TIFF Audience Award, man, that is huge. That is big. The last 12, maybe 13 now, winners of the TIFF Audience Award went on to be nominated for Best Picture. So I'm seeing everyone right now, add Life of Chuck to their Best Picture lineup. I guess my question to those people would be, are you adding Life of Chuck to your lineup because of the TIFF stat, or is it because you believe in Life of Chuck? And if you just believe in Life of Chuck, well, where was that belief of Life of Chuck before winning TIFF? And if you only believe in Life of Chuck because it won TIFF, I mean, is there any film that could have won Audience Choice that you would not move into Best Picture? Let's say next year, Jackass 5, balls to the walls, Jackass 5 wins Audience Choice. Obviously, no one would move that to their Best Picture lineup. So, obviously there is a line that you would draw when it comes to the TIFF stat. And currently, Life of Chuck kind of hits right under that line for me. Now, you could say, what about American Fiction? A lot of people were saying that about American Fiction last year. I didn't have trouble seeing American Fiction as Best Picture nominee. I threw it in my lineup, but Life of Chuck, I don't know. I'm not completely sold on it. Now, am I confident that Life of Chuck won't be nominated? Hell no. No. At the end of the day, I didn't think Life of Chuck was a contender upon seeing it, but the sheer fact that it won obviously gave the film some headlines. It catapulted itself into the Oscar conversation, and people who wouldn't have seen it before are now going to see it. So I don't want to be reactionary by putting it in, but I also don't want to be stubborn or blinded by my own opinion. Now, based on the contenders today, yeah, there's room for Life of Chuck. I get it. There's room. But I'm playing the long game, baby, and I do think Gladiator 2, A Complete Unknown, maybe Nickel Boys, Blitz, and now we got Jury Number 2 coming around the corner. I do think in the end, some of those projects will edge out Life of Chuck, especially because unlike all the last 12 winners of TIFF Audience Award, they all had acting prospects. American Fiction, Jeffrey Wright. Fablemans had Michelle Williams. Belfast had the entire cast. No Man Land had Frances McDormand. And what are the prospects of acting in Life of Chuck? Mark Hamill? Is it really? Is the acting branch going to hinge their love on a film on Mark Hamill? I just don't see it. I don't know. I am totally prepared to move it over to Best Picture eventually. But where's the rush? Where's the rush, huh? Let's just see what happens. I mean, the stat has got to break someday, and I'm going to say it's this year. And that's how I'm going to feel until I see those other remaining contenders and see that they're not really contenders. So, in my opinion, I think it's getting 0 to 2 nominations. I'm thinking adapted in picture is probably the film's best chance. Long shots, I think, are score, and I think supporting's a long shot. I just do. But yeah, those are my thoughts on Life of Chuck. Sorry if it was a downer. Let me know what you guys think, though. Do you have Life of Chuck in your 10? Am I crazy? What Oscar prospects are you expecting for Life of Chuck? I got more TIFF reviews coming your way. I got The Substance. I got Wild Robot. I got more. So feel free to hit that subscribe button down below. Follow me on Twitter. Links in the bio. Thanks always for watching. And until next time, I will see you at TIFF. Oh wait, I'm home now. I'll see you at the Oscars.